Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth.
And danced the skies on laughter's silvered wings.
Sunward I've climbed, and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds.
And done 100 things you have not dreamed of.
These are the voyages of the starship Erebus. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Wow, this call got incredibly awkward.
Righty then.
Everything just dropped like that. Okay.
No. It's not awkward at all. It's super awkward. All right. Well, welcome everyone to the much anticipated, not too long overdue, because we've done 2 weeks in a row because we had to skip a week because I was just not in a good place to run a game. But you know that happens, and I think it's more important to be honest with yourself, with players, that you're just not feeling it. And these players have been absolutely fantastic. Wonderful. Really the best players. I don't think there's ever been any better players other than these players. That's my really bad Trump impression. But anyway,
Really
as is tradition, we're going to go around the table where everyone quickly introduce themselves for episode 8. Episode 8, The Infection of Choice is the name of this episode. I'm very excited about this one because it's going to be a little crazy. I'm pretty excited about it. I don't want to hype them up too much. But it's gonna be a little bonkers, and I'm excited to see what happens. We also have an opening log from the captain this week, which I didn't even get a post, so I have no idea what to expect. He could just loudly scream, just be like, "Honk,"
I'm gonna get my guitar. I'm gonna do
Yeah.
the Andy Samberg
2, 3, 4.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. Let's go around the table. Everyone reintroduce themselves. We're gonna go Matthew, Aaron, Drew, Schmandy, and C4A. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew, and I play the Enar Science Officer, Civilian Science Officer, Shas Chathane.
And hello, everybody. I'm Aaron. I'm playing the Andorian commanding officer of the USS Erebus, Captain Ishra Shruth.
I'm Drew. I'm playing the android chief engineer, Lieutenant Commander Flitz.
I'm Schmandy, and I am playing the Klingon security officer, Lieutenant Phelan.
I'm C4A, and I am playing the human CMO, Stern.
Oh, inferior breed. That's funny, Lovecraft. I like where your mind's at. And of course, I am Darewolf, the game master, the spinner of tales, and I play all the NPCs, which is super fun. Awesome. Also the first officer. You're welcome. Coffee. But we're going to open our first scene right before our opening log with, as we often do, an exterior shot of the Erebus traveling at warp speed towards its next destination. The ship itself looks really pristine. Like, it just looks really, really well put together. At the end of our last session, you guys had met with a strange species, the Numfel Legion, and their apparent god of some sort. What you came to realize was a dying Q, or at least the Q had decided to die, because Qs don't actually die unless they decide to die, right? So we're not exactly sure what has transpired with that Q, but she turned to dust and drifted away. And after that situation, you guys stuck behind for a little bit. They helped you refit. You helped them sort of figure out their lives for probably several weeks and make sure that everyone was back up and running because they had been slowly dying due to this life support system that the AQ had put together. But we have solved that problem. We are now traveling towards our next destination. So we're gonna pivot down and to the Erebus itself. We're going to zoom in through the captain's ready room, where we see his little shelf of trinkets and knickknacks, a few things added to there from the last couple adventures, and the captain dictating, perhaps typing, I'm not sure. It's probably dictating, because that's how it works. Dictating his opening log. Take it away.
Captain's log, stardate 88236.7. Since leaving Federation space and our galaxy 4 months ago, the crew have faced challenges weighted with consequence the likes of which we never imagined. From the outset, They were responsible for the lives of the crews of dozens of alternate iterations of the Erebus. And in those first desperate hours, we declared that we would do the right thing and not the easy thing. In the months since, we have been tested. A millennia-old debris field between two warring planets and Novut, a cleric of the Prophetess. She attempted to convince us that it would be easier to simply die than to risk the pain of loss and the agony of defeat. After some time interacting with her, negotiating, and after a rather bizarre trip within some sort of mental construct of her devising, we managed to get our position across, and she departed in peace. Next, a radiation field around the homeworld of the Icthal. We found Ardal and her people doomed to a slow death at the hands of a conqueror race called the Terraquix. We were asked by them to take responsibility for her well-being. And the medical and science divisions have maintained contact with the planet as we search for a way to save them. Next, Meldreth and Ulzai, alien heretics searching for their god in the form of an alien space station they called Ubraela, to prove the tenets of their faith correct over the other warring ideologies on their planet. They found what they were looking for, but we were left with more questions than answers. We then discovered the Centaurum, an alien empire that the Terraquix seemed to be a part of. They claim responsibility for the state of Ardal's world, and we found them capable of harnessing the awesome power of the Omega molecule, making them a threat comparable to the Borg in my estimate. But unlike the Borg, and like any common bully, they cry once you punch them in the nose. We also encountered something from the annals of Federation history in the form of Kronos Station, albeit in a new configuration, and found the daughter of Q seemingly dying in an attempt to save herself. She was willing to sacrifice an entire species and take them with her, a plan that seemingly cost her her life despite the best efforts of Commander Stern. We left the Numfell Legion, the native inhabitants of the world, recently, well, healing, and in command of their own destiny once more. And now, we have located a quarantine system with evidence of a superstructure on an M-class planet, and a space station seemingly in geostationary orbit above it. It appears to be something akin to a ziggurat configuration as we know from old Earth. The Erebus is moving to investigate. On a lighter note, I've witnessed in these past months a growing camaraderie among the crew. Several members of the senior staff in particular. And I myself seem to have discovered something of a taste for cold brew earth coffee, as introduced to me by my first officer, a man who I must admit I found incredibly abrasive during the first weeks of our voyage, but whose irreverence seems to be growing on me. Less like something endearing and more like something akin to a fungus. Computer, delete the last sentence and save the log.
You may have 2 momentum for that delightful opening log. Well played, sir. Absolutely well played. That's wonderful. So as we pivot from the captain to his ready room door, there is doot as someone is requesting access into the room.
Enter.
Entering in is a almost duplicate copy of Lieutenant Commander Stern, whom you very quickly recognize as Ardal. And Ardal has requested in the last 2 weeks, some time with the captain. She is looking to understand from a leadership perspective, what does it mean to command? You know, her species back on her planet, there wasn't really a command structure per se. They all just did what needed to be done. And there is more of a hierarchy aboard the Federation vessel, right? Aboard your ship. So she's been discussing with you the history of the Federation, Starfleet. It's kind of like a 30 minutes every couple of days, maybe once or twice a week, where she just wants to sit down and talk with you. So she's come in, she's got a little data pad, and this is probably like the third or fourth session that you guys have had, right? And she looks incredibly excited about something. And now Ardal is generally very, not reserved per se, but she doesn't get too bubbly. But she seems almost bubbly in this moment. And she enters in and she's almost shaking with excitement. And she goes, Captain Isha, very good to see you. Just wanted to say thank you again for taking the time. And I'm not too. I think I'm a little early. I'm sorry. I just there was something that I was reading, and I was just, it was absolutely fascinating, and I really wanted to discuss and get your insights and thoughts on it. And she just kind of starts blithering a little bit about something.
So, all right. First, come in and let the door close and have a seat.
Has a little seat.
Are you hungry? Can I get you anything?
Oh no, I just ate. I've actually been trying. It was a Klingon delicacy. Although Lieutenant Phelan said that the one that comes from the replicators isn't as good as the real thing, but I've quite liked it very much. A little bit chewy at times, but I've actually had the computer up the temperature, and she just blithers on about how she likes to make Klingon gach, and how she's enjoying it. Apparently, that's like it's pretty good for her. I don't know. It's a whole thing, but she has her data pad, and on the data pad, she has what appears to be a book, and it's something that you may or may not know. I'll let you just determine that. But you see Shinsu's The Art of War, and apparently she's been reading this and she's intrigued by it. Right, so she sets the data pad down. You see it. It's like a Kindle version of it. She sets it down and she says, I've been doing some reading into some of the ancient Earth history, which I know you're not from Earth, but the Federation was obviously founded on Earth, and found this, The Art of War, and there was something about it that spoke to me, and I can't quite explain why, but the Federation, you say that it is built upon exploration, yet this vessel is armed with such tremendous weapons of destruction. It seems at times almost counterintuitive. Yet I look at some of the history of Earth, and it seems that war has always been a facet of humanity, along with many of the species from your galaxy.
The part of the galaxy that we all come from, well, the majority of us, is called the Alpha Quadrant. And one common tie that binds all sentient races in that part of our galaxy is that in our own way, we each underwent growing pains that were violent. Each of the founding races of the Federation, humans, Vulcans, Tellarites, Andorians, all of us nearly destroyed ourselves time and time again until we found each other.
What keeps you from wanting to destroy one another?
It took decades for the antipathy between my people and the Vulcans to even begin to fade. They were hated enemies of the Andorians. We fought war after war against them over trivial matters like territory and whose idea of where we go when we die is correct. In truth, the thing that prevented us from destroying each other was humanity.
Looks down at the data pad for a moment, sort of absentmindedly flips a couple of pages on it.
Eventually, we began to understand their point of view. That difference is not a weakness. Differences in culture, differences in faith, these are things to be celebrated, and even my people came to appreciate this, the credo of our most hated enemy: infinite diversity in infinite combinations. Now we remember the lessons of our past. We remember the wars. We still have them. Until recently, Lieutenant Phelan fought for our, I suppose, our perennial challenger, the Klingon Empire. But wars end. But one must always be ready to defend oneself, defend one's home, and especially to defend those who are unable to defend themselves.
Takes a moment to absorb what you've said. And Captain, do you think Lieutenant Phelan would be willing to teach me some self-defense techniques?
I can assure you that he would.
Could you talk to him for me?
And the captain will tap his comm badge and say, "Truth to Phelan."
Phelan here.
Phelan, please report to my ready room.
Understood. I will start heading up from the security rooms, and within however long it takes for me to get there onto the turbo lift and to the bridge, I will head towards the captain's ready room.
You enter.
Captain.
Lieutenant, thank you. Very prompt. I appreciate it. Ardral here has something she would like to ask you.
She is a little nervous to ask. She looks a little unsure of herself, and she looks down at the little data pad and then looks at the captain for some reassurance.
He'll nod.
Lieutenant Phelan, I was wondering if, when you have some time, if you would be willing to teach me how to fight.
This is something I was honestly hoping for. I know your people were wronged. I think it would be only fitting that you are trained and conditioned in order to avenge yourself properly.
Thank you. No one else to say other than thank you. He looks to the captain, then looks back to Lieutenant Phelan, and she says, "Would now be a good time to start, or are you busy, sir?"
My regular duties are complete for the day. If you believe that you are ready to undertake this, then yes, I will instruct you in the ways of honor.
And
Captain,
Lieutenant, if I may make a suggestion.
Yes.
Throw in a few philosophical Klingon texts on the spiritual side of combat.
Certainly. The heart of virtue is incomplete without strengthening the mind and spirit as well as the body. So, with the training of a Klingon and with the philosophy of Starfleet, I believe you would have the potential to become one of the finest warriors your galaxy has ever known.
Looks at the captain. Captain, would you mind if we ended our meeting a little early this week?
I think that would be best, but before you go with the lieutenant, I'd like a word with him alone.
Of course, sir. She'll grab her data pad, smiles, just beaming up at Lieutenant Phelan. You can see the excitement. There's a little spring in her step. She'll make her way to the door, exit, opens, closes. She'll wait. Please.
Lieutenant,
Yes,
I've been considering the possibility of the inevitability of a conflict with this Centaurum.
as have I, sir.
I wanted to know if you had any ideas in that regard.
Well, analyzing what technology we were able to acquire, at least schematics of which from our last encounter, we may be able to increase the ship's capabilities to match those that we have encountered with the Centaurum. More importantly, however, I believe that what is required is a unity in cause. The Centaurum are fanatics. They are true believers. They have no common ground, no compromise to be made. We must face them with an equal conviction.
There may come a day when we have to. For now, I was thinking of something a little more conventional. And the captain will reach into his desk, take out a data pad, and slide it across to Lieutenant Phelan. And it is something from the very earliest traditions of Starfleet, when it was a much more militaristic organization. And that is a unit called Mako.
Ah, this is much to my liking, Captain.
Yeah. And for anybody that doesn't know, Mako stands for Military Assault Command Operations.
Basically, aren't they basically Starfleet Marines?
They're basically, yes, like Starfleet Delta operators, basically. And he says, but I'd like to put a 25th century spin on it. I want you to pull a team of 5, including yourself, from all departments. I want them slotted in for physical training, marksmanship, and tactics. I want them ready to deploy at a moment's notice, and I want them able to handle anything.
Consider it done, Captain.
Quick aside, Lieutenant Phelan, you and I are Schmandy. We're gonna have to get together and we're gonna have to build this team.
Yes.
And what I'd like to do is I'd like this team to be NPCs that the other 4 players can play. So we'll all have to collaborate together.
Yeah.
But basically, you guys are gonna have like your military team. That seems fun. I don't know if that's what you're going for, Aaron, but like that seems fun to me.
I'm looking for, because it's not canon. I didn't want to say like the Hazard team, if anybody knows what that is from Star Trek Voyager Elite Force and then Elite Force 2. But
But
so the
yeah.
nearest analog that I have is Mako, and so we'll just say I want an interdisciplinary, and I want scientists
we're
on it. I
gonna
want
build
engineers
so
and such.
like in between sessions we're gonna build
Yeah.
like the
Like
Erebus
we can call
Marine Squad,
yeah
whatever you want to
we can
call it.
call it
Yeah.
we can call it the
Oh.
hazard team.
Yeah,
Like
it
it's
has to be.
fine.
I like
Like
it.
it's
That'll be
This is gonna
fun.
be
Just
awesome.
That'll be
society
really
team.
fun. And then like we could do an episode where like they go do something. Like that could be really like that's a fun little side plot. I love it, Aaron. I don't want to. I just
Hell
wanted to
yes.
jump in here and be like, I support this decision. Let's elaborate
Yeah.
on it. That sounds
well,
fucking awesome.
it doesn't matter if you support it. I'm the captain. I'm saying it's happening. It's happening.
All right. Really weird. The captain just came down with an incurable disease. Super sorry about that. Oh no.
Well, thank God they have a good CMO on board. Wow.
Well, yeah, it's really weird how she can't save the queue. How can she save the captain? All right, no,
Wow,
too
get
soon.
wrecked.
Going for the jugular. That's.
I'm sorry.
I mean, she saved the queue technically, and then you shot her.
Yeah.
You dick.
Unfortunately,
It is nice to see you
25th
this
century
sassy,
Madison
Charlie.
Yeah, it's
cure a case of
fantastic.
phaser to the chest.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. That was the dice did that. I didn't do it. The
I
dice
know,
did.
it's- it was
Sure,
good.
Jan.
Mm.
Speaking of
But
the
yeah.
CMO, do you have anything else to add?
No, not at all. I think
He's on board with
Might I
allow-
have one request?
Please.
Given that our new crewmate Ardal is effectively a blank slate, even if she is not on that team, I would like her to attend the training.
You have authority in matters of ship security, Lieutenant. If you believe it's necessary, then it's necessary.
My thanks. In that case, I will begin the necessary preparations. I will assemble a team, and when the time comes, the Centaurum will not know what is coming.
Like it. And at that line, I think that's a good time to pivot. That's a solid line. Like we zoom down through the ship. Lieutenant Commander Stern, where do you spend your time when you're not like in your quarters by yourself, like, you know, like hanging out alone? Where do you like kick back to relax a little bit? If you do. Where does Lieutenant Commander Stern do that? Like, does she hang out in 10 forward? Does she like go to the Arboretum? You know?
Does this ship have a pool?
Sure. Why
Okay.
not?
She
They-
likes.
They have holodecks. You can get a
Yes,
pool
it has a
whatever time you
holodeck,
want.
so it has whatever we
True.
want.
She likes to swim.
Okay, that's awesome. That is awesome. So she's swimming. Is this like an Olympic size like swimming pool? You're doing laps? Is this like a beach? Like what are we doing?
Not a beach.
Not
No.
a beach
She's-
episode. All right, cool.
she's-
No problem.
She's doing laps.
All right.
We
she's
had a
doing
beach
laps.
episode last episode, and you
We did!
You ruined it for us.
Hilarious.
The only beach episode I've seen where somebody kills a god.
Yeah. Well, it's good. I'm just saying, Drill could have taken over. That would have been a crazy thing. She
You're
could have
right.
taken her powers. I'm just saying. It's
She
good.
thought about
So
it.
you're doing laps, okay?
Yeah.
You're doing laps, back and forth,
Uh-huh.
back and forth, back and forth. You've been going for probably like, I don't know, like 20, 30 minutes, okay?
Sure.
So I don't know how tired she is. She's probably in really good shape, right? But there is a doot on the door, like into it. Like someone's asking to come in. And this is obviously your time in the holodeck. So someone's asking to come in.
Computer, who is at the door?
It is Commander Ulrich.
She gets out of the pool and wraps a
Yep.
towel around and
Yep.
just like wringing out
Mhm.
and is like, enter.
Doors open. Ulrich walks in with like swim trunks
Mm.
and like a towel over his shoulders. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't realize someone was in here. It's so weird that's I like this program too. It's great with the swimming and the lapping. I find it's really good exercise. Do that. Are you leaving, or do you have like some time to I don't know, do you want to race or something?" Awkward
She-
laughing.
Tactfully decides not to mention that you can clearly see who I guess like rents out the
Oh
space.
yeah,
or
oh yeah,
whatever
oh yeah.
books
Yeah.
the
He's
space.
bullshitting you right now.
Yeah, of
Totally
course.
bullshitting you. Yeah,
Clearly,
yeah.
clearly.
yeah.
Well, I have finished my daily exercise and was getting ready to head down to Chains and head to the mess hall.
Oh, all right. Are you meeting like friends or friendly friends?
I have not made any plans yet, no.
Okay, all right. Well, with that being said, and he does the most awkward "Would you like to have dinner with me?" that you've ever experienced. It's like mumbling and bumbling. He drops his towel, he awkwardly picks it up, almost falls in the pool. It's so bad. It is like the worst "I'm asking you to dinner" you've ever seen, but he's very ardent about it, right? Like he's very like notice me, senpai. Notice me. He's like,
Someone help this poor man.
he's so bad. He's like so
Okay.
awkward. Like usually he's like jokey and laughy. He's trying to make fucking like, but he's so bad. It's so bad that it's almost endearing. Like that's what we're seeing happen. And I'm curious, how does Lieutenant Commander Stern react?
I have to backtrack a little because C4A knows exactly what's going on, but
Sure.
Stern just somehow it just
Over her
it's
head.
it's
That's
a little
great.
yeah.
I love
It's
it.
just like the pool is a little slippery there. You're
Oh,
uh,
crap!
uh,
I almost fell in the pool. Oh,
mhm.
you know what?
uh
Hold on.
I am
Hold on. I'm gonna do something funny because he does have a character sheet. We're gonna do a fitness,
oh god.
security, difficulty of 2.
Is this before or
He
after
does
asked?
have
'Cause that would be
composure,
great.
so I'm gonna give him a focus. He falls in the pool. He's like, so I was wondering if you'd like to have sploosh. Just
be
head
careful.
first in, towel goes flying, like pops up, like he's like clinging to the side, he's coughing up water. It's so bad. And
Are you
finally he gets it
okay?
out. He's like, I'm fine, Lieutenant Commander, I'm fine. Would you like to have dinner with me? He finally blurts it out.
I am not meeting with anyone. Sure, if unless you are going to do your swimming here, I don't.
Oh no,
Oh,
no. I
but-
mean, I could. It's later. You know what? This is all I needed. Just a little quick dip in. That's good. Good. Yeah, I will. With 30, 45 minutes. 45 minutes. Mess hall, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Good. Good. What do you like? Do you like? You know what? We'll figure it out. We'll replicate it. We have those on the ship. The replicate. That's
We
good.
do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. All right. Perfect. Okay. It's a thing. We're good. It's a great. All right. And then he's just gonna depart, just like, sopping wet, leaves a flip flop behind, and just fucking bolts out of there. And as all of that's going on, a couple of ensigns come up, and it's like your time's almost done, and they like watch him leave, and they look at you, and they look at him, and then they both just kind of start snickering to themselves.
Can I help you, Ensign?
No, sir, ma'am, sir, ma'am, sir. No, it was our time at the holodeck, ma'am, sir, ma'am.
And she'll address the one on the left. Johnson, remember your physical is tomorrow. Keep that in mind. I'll see you at 1000 hours.
Yes, ma'am, sir, ma'am.
And she'll
Good.
head out.
And then they part. I love it. Awesome. Wonderful. All right. So as all that's going on, I'd like to pivot over. I'd like to pivot over to one of the science rooms. All right. One of the science rooms. And we've got Lieutenant. Excuse me. You're not a lieutenant. You're not actually part of Starfleet because you're a piece of non-Starfleet material.
I'm better than you, yes.
Okay, Shaz. You get fucked. All right. So we're going to pivot over there. And we are going to have a quick scene between Lieutenant Commander Flitz and Shaz. Lieutenant Commander Flitz and Shaz. Now, if you remember, you guys had recently gotten a piece of the puzzle that might allow you to reverse engineer this cloud around the Akol's homeworld, right? I would like to know from you guys, what piece have you gotten, and how is this piece going to help you begin to come up with an idea of how to fix the Akal homeworld? How is it going to help you? I want you guys to take a little creative license, fill me in. Remember, we still need 2 more pieces, right? But this is kind of the beginning of it. So don't solve the problem, but give me like just a piece of the puzzle to kind of start solving the problem. Take a moment to think about it if you need to, and let me know. I'm going to have you guys have a scene together.
So throwing this out in the meta to you, perhaps because it was phasing in and out of various different subspace pockets, we have found some kind of like phase discriminator that they've been using that we might be able to employ in order to shunt that radiation field into another layer of subspace.
Grim or can shunt the field into another part of subspace. I love that. So that'll get rid of the cloud, but it won't get rid of the damage that's already been done. So that's interesting. I like that. So I'd like you guys to take a little bit of time, discuss in character, just kind of like have a scene, because I don't really see you guys together too much. So I want to see what happens between Lieutenant Commander Flitz and Shaz. I know I'm putting you guys on the spot, but take it away. Talk to me. Talk to each other.
Commander, I'm very pleased that you were able to join me to assist in this process. I hope that I didn't leave engineering in too much of a state of disarray while I replaced you.
No, not at all. You performed admirably. My staff spoke quite highly of your capabilities. Thank you for taking care of my ship.
I think that they were just eager to get you back and me out of engineering, but please
True.
express my gratitude to them.
I shall.
And he sort of like awkwardly stands there for a moment, looking back and forth at you. He's not entirely sure what to make of you. And then he just sort of like sidesteps over towards the display piece where we've got this initial schematic of the piece of technology that we've taken away. It hasn't been fully, I suppose, mapped. And he gestures over towards it. I've been somewhat reluctant to reconfigure our modular laboratories to facilitate the analysis of this piece of technology. After all, we are going into a quarantine zone. I imagine that sickbay will want to repurpose the laboratories themselves. But I hope you might be able to take a look at this.
Flitz, when you walk off, like as soon as you get kind of out of eyesight, he gets just like the littlest smirk, and then follows you over. He studies the schematic. I think perhaps we could model the new array that you're proposing in the holodeck as a substitute for actual field repair testing.
I must admit I've never been too fond of holodeck simulations. They can only deal with the variables about which they know. This technology is utterly dissimilar to anything we've encountered previously. It's far more advanced than, and he just gestures around at the various instrumentation in the laboratory.
You don't believe in our abilities to program such a simulation?
Well, far be it for me to call your tactical skills into question, but frankly, no.
I would calculate a 99.932% reliance on the simulations, and as a initial test, I find that to be well within parameters that we could actually do the testing under. It is, in fact, better than nothing.
That is logic with which I cannot disagree, of course. And he seems to pause for a moment as if pondering that, and then he gets a slightly queer expression on his face. Commander, might I ask you a personal question pursuant to the calculations you just performed?
You may indeed.
You are a man, if I may use the term, a being of spectacular capabilities. Were you built for the purposes of serving in Starfleet, or was that a choice that you made of your own volition?
It was a choice. I was found by Starfleet, a a in fact a California class ship, not not one of the higher profile missions, but the crew and their abilities and the way they worked together and interacted with other life forms uh, impressed me. And the more I studied of Starfleet after they turned me on, so to speak, uh, impressed me enough that I decided to at least spend some of my operational time in Starfleet. I had a very good not mentor word, I can't think of the word model to build my career off of with Lieutenant Commander Data.
It's gonna leave that
Hmm.
Sorry.
So as you've been speaking, Shas has been working on a data pad using Braille, essentially. So he's been running his fingers over that and making a few different calculations. As you finish off this description of the inspiration that you received from the sort of collaborative nature of Starfleet, he reaches up very briefly and sort of scratches at the scarification around his temples and eyes, and then says, must admit that what you've just described is the greatest weakness of Starfleet. You've talked about their camaraderie, their diplomatic prowess, their technical skills and abilities, their scientific acumen. No one organization can be responsible for, well, everything pertaining to the maintenance of an interstellar civilization. It's not fair to ask that of one crew, to be proficient in all those areas.
Is not your liver performs a different task than your heart and your brain and your eyes, correct?
Those are radically different organs within the body. That seems to speak to my point.
And the branches within Starfleet act as similar structures. I see. The different departments within the ship perform different functions. Command staff runs the ship. They perform diplomacy. They interact with people. The engineering staff performs various functions, keeping the ships together and repairing and providing equipment for various species that we come in contact with and other civilizations to assist them with problems that they may be having. Our medical teams are here to keep us and the people that we encounter healthy. I find the ability for Starfleet to multitask to be its strength.
I have ideological objections to an organization that has a role in the defense of the Federation, the waging of war, even if they are wars of defense, and diplomacy, and scientific endeavors. The ethos of each of these missions is incongruous and incompatible.
A ensign, I'm going to jump in briefly. An ensign that is in the room with you, that is helping you guys work on things, pipes up, and simply says, war has oftentimes been the catalyst for some of the greatest scientific inventions of every species that exists in the alpha, beta, gamma, and delta quadrant. Some of the cures we have for horrible diseases came because of military advancement. Just my 2 cents, sir. Goes back to doing whatever.
Well spoken, Ensign.
There's an interesting rhetorical question that the humans have posed. Would you do evil such that good would come of it?
Is that a question for the ensign?
No, that was just a rhetorical question
Okay,
to the chief engineer.
I don't see Starfleet as a military with which to wage war. We have fought in wars of defense and self-preservation, but we have not gone out in wars of conquest. The ability to defend others is, I see, as one of Starfleet's best tasks. We are strong that we may protect those who are weak.
And yet,
are we perfect? No, I do not believe we are. But is it somewhat contradictory? Yes, but that is in almost all things the way you biological life forms operate. Nothing you do is consistent. Even the Vulcans with their logic.
I'm reminded of the Federation shortly after the destruction of the Klingon moon of Praxis, and the ideology that dominated at that time. Starfleet Admiralty and officers were interposing themselves in the peace process. They were the principal diplomats. They were the ones who were orchestrating the assassination attempt on the president. Their influence on the Federation became thoroughly toxic. I think that the schizophrenic nature of the organization invites such usurpations of power. Nonetheless, Commander, I will, of course, allow you to have the final word. I do appreciate your assistance in this. It points towards this sort of schematic that is now partially compiled and the holodeck simulations that are being developed by the computer as a result of the work that they've been putting in through this conversation with the, well, the humanitarian endeavor we've embarked upon.
I suppose the last thing I have to say on the topic is you are welcome to propose something better.
Oh, I would simply enhance the Starfleet science wing and delineate responsibilities for defense and scientific exploration and diplomacy to requisite agencies or the appropriate respective agencies. But that's, well, that's outside my purview.
Not of all of us.
Good. Well played, guys. I didn't give you a lot of prompts on that one, but you did a good job with it. That was well played. Well played. You may have one momentum for that delightful scene. I like that. That was good. I like that. We're going to pivot over. We're going to pivot over to the mess hall real quick. And, you know what? Stern, Commander Maston Ulrich. Commander Ulrich is there first. He's got a table. So I want you to imagine like 10 forward, right? And it's like back in the corner, like away from people. He's got table and he's like, come over, like over here. I'm right here. Like he's like got like a couple drinks out there and everything. So awkward. So fucking awkward. How do you handle with this? Do you like go to like the do you go to the replicator first? You just beeline over there? How does this work? It's gonna be great.
Yeah. She would get her food first.
Okay, good. What are you having?
That's a great question. Some pasta dish and a side salad. I don't know.
All right, so you get there, okay, and you head over. You sit down, and he's like, "Commander Stern, Lieutenant Commander Stern, it's great to see you. Thank you for agreeing to have dinner with me. I mean, I not to be funny or anything, but I've been meaning to sit down and have a conversation because I want to get to know all of the command staff, right? Like as the first officer, it's important that I start to I get to know everybody, on a personal level, right? So I just wanted to say thank you. I know you're busy with doctoring. I'm really
And the doors to 10 forward just swish open, and the captain comes strolling in. And so you can see it's clearly off-duty time, because the zipper, that weird zipper that they have in the future that you can't see until they need to like take off a one piece.
so they need to look relaxed.
So he's got like
Got an
I'm
eye
just picturing.
casual.
Even though there's an obvious zipper in the back.
Yeah, there's a zipper in the back. But in these shots, it doesn't have a zipper in the back. It's got a zipper in the front.
Yeah.
This is uniform B.
Mhm.
It's similar to the old motion picture uniforms when they were like relaxed and there's the flap.
Yeah.
Like so, he's just
Listen, sit down,
It
kick
just
up your
makes-
feet, open your chest flap.
yeah, just open and it's like still full fabric. Like
Yeah.
you can't see anything. Like it's not any different. Like it's just
Yeah.
so he's got that going on. And oh, you know what? No, better still. He's got the Captain Picard style jacket over the sweater
Oh my god, what a
with the-
nerd.
with the
So good.
captain's pips. Yeah.
So good.
And he
And-
just comes like waltzing in there and grabs a beverage from the
A Pepperino.
Ooh.
from the from the
Replicator
bartender.
for that. I'd like to
And,
say real quick, sorry, Stern is also in casual gear, but it's actually casual and it's just Starfleet regulated blacks. That's it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
the captain just puts on an alternate uniform to be
The,
casual.
The
Like,
first officer is like almost dressed to the nines, like dress
my
uniform.
God.
Yeah, it's
And,
awkward as fuck.
the
Yes.
captain notices
Yeah.
and comes
Computer,
over.
play character.
Yeah, oh! And he's just like he's like and so I just I figured it would be good for us to get. And Captain, how are you, sir?
Good
Commander.
evening, Captain.
Commander Ulrich, Commander Stern. It's good to see you both here.
Hmm.
What's the occasion, number one?
And Stern looks at him too, like,
We were I was just having a dinner with another officer to dinner.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt.
oh no, he just said he had some questions for me. So
You see him like utterly failing. Like it is so bad. Like he is just like so nervous, so beside himself. And does the captain like help or does he make it worse? I'm so excited. What happens? He's just fumbling. Like it's literally like it's fourth down and 1 and he just fucking threw an interception. It's like he's about to throw an interception. All right? It's like it's so bad. It's bad.
It's fucking 4th and 17th. They're going for a field goal when they should just try to freaking get an onside
Just go
kick.
for it. Just go for
But
it.
it's
Yeah.
just
He's no one to do.
please,
He's so bad.
please.
He's so bad.
This is great.
Commander Stern, can I speak to you for a second?
Uh,
Just one moment, Commander. Ulrich.
absolutely,
Oh, of
Captain.
course. And just takes a long drink.
How can I help you, Captain?
Commander, you're aware that you're on a date, right?
Boss?
You're on a date.
Awkwardly fidgeting.
When he said all right, did he ask you to have dinner with him?
Yes. I
All right.
assumed it was just
This
colleagues.
and so the captain hasn't taken a sip of the drink yet. He says, "All right, this is a date here. This is for you.
Oh,
All right, I want you to just drink some of that right now. It's synthahol. Don't worry, it'll with a hypo spray. So,
So good.
Commander, I feel that you may be in uncharted territory, metaphorically speaking, as well as actually speaking.
Uh, yes.
My advice
Oh,
is
God.
to just have a good time.
Bridge to the captain.
Yeah, please, God.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sir, we've arrived in the system.
On my way. All right. Have a good time, Commander. I'll handle it. Number one, you don't need to. You can remain off duty for now.
Bridge to the doctor.
Yes, done here.
We're receiving strange readings that we may need your assistance on.
Understood. I'm on my way. And she'll turn back to Ulrich
Yeah.
and
Hopeful, but like completely beside himself look. Just like
Just say rain check.
you're gone. Get out of here, Dad.
Get out of here, Dad. That's really funny.
You're like across the room. Just say.
Say rain check.
No, just like big mouth.
I'm very sorry. I've been called back to my office, but it was good seeing you again, Commander. And she'll take dinner and back to the replicator and fade out like that meme.
And he'll just be like sitting there by himself for
She
a
just
second.
glides backwards
And
towards
he's just
the
like-
door.
Of course, my camera won't do it right when I need
Yeah.
it to.
And-
There it is.
Our last scene of Ulrich is just like sitting there with his drink and his nines, and he just looks
Real
down.
Can
Real
I
quick, can I add one thing?
Please.
I want to add one thing too.
Okay. Dr. Harak is going to skitter across the ceiling, look down at him. Is that seat taken?
He's just gonna look up. No, it's not.
Aw, that's
Aw.
perfect. I don't want
Bum, bum, bum. That's so good. All right, so you guys have now arrived in system where we're at. That was so fun. Thank you, Aaron, for collaborating on that. That was wonderful. All right, so you guys have
How old is the
arrived.
captain?
It's so good. Rain
What?
check.
Sorry, how old is the captain?
The captain is.
So good.
I think the captain is. I forget the exact date. He remembers the brain attack on Earth though in the Dominion War.
That
So
doesn't mean
he's
anything to
he's
me.
in his early 50s.
Okay, so not quite old enough to be dad. Carry
Not
on,
quite.
sorry.
It's okay.
So good. So good. All right, so you guys have arrived in system. And I'd like to imagine that the command staff has all made their way up to the bridge. You've all been periodically and systematically called to the bridge. So what you see before you, as often as we have arrived in this system, we arrive at the outskirts of the solar system. We can see the central star, which is a very like sun-like star. So it's a yellow star. And you can see that there are a number of planets around. You're seeing the computer making its long-range scans, the ship. And the planet in question is in the same orbit as Earth. So it's third planet from the sun, right? Yeah, third planet from the sun. Wow, basic astronomy. All right, but all right, so third planet from the sun, and you can see as the computer does a boop, 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 zooms in, you can see the planet, which looks kind of Earth-like. It's got big blue oceans. It has these green continents. You can see some deserts. You can see some mountain ranges, but you also can see that there is this cube-like space station of some sort that is in geosynchronous orbit around this massive pyramid that is large enough to where you can see it from like space. It's huge. It's one of those, it's like you could see the Great Wall of China from space. It's like that, but it's massive. This thing must be hundreds, if not 1,000 miles across. It's enormous, right? And this thing is orbiting, and there appears to be a kind of bluish light that is encompassing this cube station that is going down to the tip, that peak of the pyramid, and it seems to be maybe tethering or transferring. We're not sure, but it's tethering. So that is what you see so far, and I want to give you guys some times to interact with it and ask questions, do scans, whatever you want to do. But that is what you guys see as you enter into the system.
Mr. Chathane, long-range scan, please.
Of course, Captain. Targeted at the station or at the facility on the planet?
The station for now, please.
Very good. And could somebody get the ship, perhaps, with sensors and...
Difficulty of 3 on this one.
Okay.
I can grab the ship.
I will spend 1 momentum to roll an extra die.
Sensors and science with a focus. Oh, still got it.
Great. So you make an initial scan of the station. Which when you scan the station, it's doesn't have a shield up. You are able to penetrate it, get a full reading. The station itself is sectioned into about a dozen different floors or levels. You're picking up about a dozen different life signs, 1 life sign on every level. Okay, so 1 life sign on every level. And it is an M-class atmosphere, so oxygen, nitrogen, the whole regular, standard breathing. And you're picking up a lot of scientific equipment on it. And then remember, there are a number of buoys. You guys are just outside. There's a number of these buoys, these beacons, very similar to what Starfleet would leave. They're saying this area is under quarantine. Okay? Doesn't say what specifically, but that's what you pick up right off the rip. You also have your question to ask further questions as well.
Okay. Phelan would like to scan the station for any visible weapon systems, possible threats.
Mm-hmm. Give me a control security.
Okay.
Difficulty of 1. Pretty standard.
Security, threat awareness?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. That's a great one.
And would the ship assist with, say, sensors and security?
Yep. Very nice. It's 2 momentum.
Oh, wow.
Plus another 1. 3 momentum back. That's great. So you are not picking up any weapons. There is a distinct lack of weapons. Not a phaser bank, not a photon array, like nothing. No weapons whatsoever. Nothing that could even be indicating of weapons. But there is a lot of power. Like, this station has like the equivalent of 30 warp cores powering it. Like, it has got a lot of power output for whatever it's working on. We're not sure.
With respect to the bonus question that I have, the free question, let me put this to the group. What is the status of those life forms? In other words, do they seem to be ill in some way? Is there something strange about the neurological patterns that we're getting? Mm-hmm. Some kind of question like to that effect?
I mean, with the quarantine buoys, that's a reasonable question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
What are we quarantining them from?
So I like the question about the neurological readings. However, I want to get the doctor involved on those. You can pick up the neurological readings. You're not sure what to make of them. So if you want to pass those off to Lieutenant Commander Stern, I'd like to get her involved to make a check on that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So yes, you pick up something. It's something strange. You're not sure what to make of it. You pass it off to her. I would like you to give a reason medicine, Lieutenant Commander Stern, difficulty of 2. You do have 5 momentum right now.
Okay.
Could the ship assist that one
Mm-hmm.
with, say, a computer's medicine?
Yes.
Or can somebody else grab the ship this time?
I can do it.
Quarantine. Could I do maybe toxicology for a focus?
I'm not going to give you that one, no. I like reminds that, but I'm going to say no on that one. I very
Infectious
rarely do.
diseases?
I would say yes.
Cool.
Say yes.
What am I rolling for the ship?
Computer's
medicine. There's your success. If you get some momentum back. Or get some momentum. Excited? Love to see it. Yeah, it's all right. You succeed. Lieutenant Commander Stern. 11 of those dozen brain patterns are the exact same brain pattern. like they are mirrored images of one another, and they are constantly in flux. Every time one changes, the other 10 change. One changes briefly, the other 10 change to match it. It is like they are mirroring one another in this constant state of flux. The 12th brain pattern is of itself completely unique and also seems to be slightly weird. Why is my brother-in-law calling me? And also seems to be slightly shielded. Like there's something protecting it. And that's what you get so far.
Do you need to take that call?
Give me 1 second. Let me just quickly call him back.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
I
we
will.
We could take our break now if you want.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll wait. I will. I guess I'll wait. I have a question, but in the meantime, I will. Oh my god! Now I disappear. I will inform about what I have discovered, and my question is, just so everybody can think about it, is the one, like, of the 11 that are changing, is it the same?
You want to mute there, Wolf?
Mute.
Professional streamer.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Tell us we were going to have a guest star.
Super sorry about that.
That's okay.
It's my brother. We're going to the zoo tomorrow. My brother-in-law was trying to call
Aw.
my wife and dialed me instead because we're at CW. So it is what it is. She just.
And I haven't been to a zoo in ages.
It's super fun. The
Me
Detroit Zoo is
neither.
absolutely fantastic. But anyway, you had another question, Lieutenant Commander Stern. Take it away.
You said of the 11 that were going the same time, is it always the same one that is first changing the pattern, or does it alternate?
Alternates.
Okay.
Great question.
So I will also mention that to. I'm assuming I'm on the bridge.
Yeah. Yep. Everyone's
Okay,
on the
then
bridge.
I will also mention that just aloud.
Could I pose a question as well?
Please.
Spending momentum. Is there any correlation between the alterations of their brain states or their neurological patterns and the information or energy being transmitted between the station and the pyramid?
Yes.
Hmm.
Every time their brain patterns change, there is a pulse from the blue energy swirling around and going to the tip of the pyramid.
Okay. Then I'd like to use my talent, which is rapid hypothesis, and I'll propose to the crew that I presume, based on the doctor's findings, the information that's provided to us, that there is some kind of force on the planet that is rewriting or controlling these minds, and they have formed some kind of almost gestalt consciousness whereby that one mind is overriding them all, coming from the planet. But that's an initial hypothesis.
How is that? Do we have any idea how that could be achieved? Is it some sort of subspace field, telepathy?
I could investigate telepathically, Captain.
I can be on standby if anything goes wrong, Captain.
A rather quick injection of a neurotransmitter inhibitor should address any concerns. It also rendered me actually blind, but that would be probably a secondary concern.
Perhaps a more direct approach. Could we not simply hail them?
I mean, I guess.
With the level of technology that we're seeing is certainly advanced to such a degree that the Prime Directive is not a concern. Indeed. Open a hailing frequency.
Alien frequency open, Captain.
This is Captain Ishra Shruth of the Federation starship Erebus. Is anybody receiving this transmission?
There
Your Honor.
is a moment of pause, and then there is a voice that comes over the comms, and the voice is somewhat strained, as though they are. If you've ever had a conversation with someone that's right in the middle of something and they're very kind of like passive in the way that they respond to you, very like flippant, like yeah, I got it, yeah. This is Dr. Roskonoi. Roskonoi, yes, I am receiving you, but I'm sure if you are an interstellar species, you have seen the beacons, the buoys. I encourage you to keep your distance. The disease that I am working on trying to solve, and shut up, damn it. Yes, the disease that I'm trying to solve is highly contagious, and if it were to escape from this system, the results could be catastrophic. So I encourage you to keep beyond the buoys, beyond the quarantine zone. But I wish you well, and pray that you wish me luck.
Wait, Captain, if I may.
Of course, Commander.
Would it be possible for you to send us your research so that we could possibly look into it and try to help?
I would that I could, miss. And as this happens, a very grainy picture appears, and you see this kind of like almost like clay-colored alien with like a very flat face, wide lips, and these red, they almost kind of look like little feathery scales like on its face, and it's wearing what appears to be like a partial suit. You can see it's got a little earring in one of its ears, almost kind of humanoid looking ears, but it shows up, and what you see behind it is this very somewhat disorganized medical bay. Like you can see instruments and panels and vials and all of these different instruments, and you could tell that this person, this being, has likely not gotten much sleep. And behind it, you can see all of these different data panels going across the screen. And the creature, this alien before you, it looks directly at the view screen and sees you, and it almost locks eyes with the doctor. You asked me for my research. Most choose simply to turn tail and run. You are offering help?
Well, Captain, if I may, still. We come from an organization that looks to explore and advance life wherever we can. We look for new answers. And we also bring new answers to different areas of different regions of space. So if there is anything that me or my team or anyone in this crew could do to assist, we would like to try.
I still am not sure, Doctor, how this disease is even spread. All I know is its effect on all of my people, my entire species. My people are a nervous species, fearful of change. And in our desire to explore the stars, we played God. And we attempted to change our very nature. Where we were paralyzed by what was out there, we became unafraid of anything. And thus my people began to do very destructive things. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
No, before would also ask for a makeup of their physiology. So just in case, because I don't want to actually infect our crew.
Imagine a human mixed with like a bird.
Oh, so Matthew was right on.
Yeah.
Federation again.
It's like, but not
damn
exactly,
Federation.
but like instead of like 90% bird and a little bit of human, this is like 90% human, a little bit of bird, like 10% bird. Yeah.
Okay, well then, we kept the records from the Federation people, so we could use that to help us out, I'm sure.
Probably.
Cool.
He begins to transfer data to the ship. What you can very quickly realize is that this species created a virus that inhibited any sort of fear that they had. The idea behind it was likely to. It was like if you've got like constant anxiety, it's to minimize it. But imagine that you had constant anxiety and then you literally had no fear of anything. So like you start to look at some of the data and people were like, oh, like walking off a bridge, that's fine. Like I'm not afraid of that. Like it was super destructive. Like, oh, like just like doing a spacewalk without a spacesuit. I'm not afraid of that. Like their self-preservation was completely obliterated. Correct. That is what this virus did. And what you start to realize is that the reason that the brain patterns are all mixing is because this doctor that you see before you, this person, he, she, they, it, has tied all of his surviving species into his own brain patterns as an anchor, while he is also trying to come up with a solution, but it's not going great.
There's only 12 left of his species.
No. You guys didn't scan the ziggurat. There's about a million other people down there.
A little less sad.
I would say, give it about a week and this problem will solve itself.
Yeah. There's about a million others down there. But as you start to look through the data, I'm going to give you a little bit of information so you're able to quickly start scanning the data. There used to be millions of people. There was like close to 1 billion, and they're down to 1 million people, and he's doing his best to keep everyone alive.
Okay. I will, I guess, get back to work with the information that he's sent over. It has sent over.
We'll say him.
Him, that he has sent over.
First officer has arrived on the bridge, awkwardly sitting there in his dress 9. Looks over to the captain. Sheepishly goes and starts looking at a data pad. Poor guy. Fuck that first officer.
Nah, he's endearing. He's got spirit.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
He's trying.
Bless his heart.
I love it. That was so much. You did such a good job with that scene, Aaron. That was so good. That was so good. Oh, man. So you have some information before you. All right. I'd like to know how you guys would like to proceed with this situation.
I would personally I'll forward this information down to my science or my
Medical.
medical labs and copy the science team as well with Shaz's say so, and
Mhm.
we would start to analyze, see what's to be done.
And I think we dedicate a basically the lion's share of ship's resources in by way of the main computer and the modular laboratories to analysis and simulations.
And could we actually get a little bit more information about the beam that's yoking the pyramid structure to the station
Yeah.
and its function?
Absolutely, make another scan.
Well, I was going to both pose the question to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you
For
want to ask him?
illumination.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he will explain that the beam between the station and so he is of the so imagine there's he's on the top part of the station or the bottom part of the station, right? That's connected. So he's got these 11 individuals with him, and he is effectively using those 11 individuals because this virus mutates very rapidly, right? And so it mutates and then it changes the brain patterns, and it's constantly, because it was artificially created, it's constantly trying to get rid of any sort of fear or any sort of self-preservation, right? Like that's how it mutated. So he uses these 11 people to constantly be monitoring the virus's change so that he knows how to modify his own brain patterns, which are tied into the station, to beam that down and protect people that are inside this ziggurat from killing themselves and doing stupid shit. Basically, he is anchoring the entire remainder of his species, and he's using these 11 people as basically his, how do I put this? His, not wayfinders, they're his test subjects to be like, okay, I know where it's how he constantly stays one step ahead of the virus, but just barely. Does that make sense? It's really weird.
Yeah, I follow you.
And the beam is just how he's transmitting his brain patterns down to keep them from going crazy. But also it's degrading his own brain, being the anchor for everybody. So yeah.
Somebody, I've already left, but can somebody ask how long they've been in quarantine? How long this has been going?
He's been trying to find a solution for this for about 5 Earth years.
Okay.
The last remaining people that were able to maintain some semblance of sanity helped him build this station. He was the world's leading medical scientist doctor person, and he has managed to quarantine himself and not get infected, but it's only a matter of time before it all gives out and his species just obliterates itself.
Mm.
I suppose the two doctors then would head down to either the modular laboratories or sickbay itself in order to liaise on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
But any orders, Captain? Anything that you guys want to do?
For the captain, no, not particularly. Although while Shas is in the lab, the captain may run some scans of his own to, I don't know, see if a second opinion yields any additional insight that could be useful.
Excellent, Captain. What scans would you like to make?
I think I would like to know the transmission medium for his neural pattern, specifically what he's using to broadcast it and what the people in the ziggurat have that receives it. If it's a latent, biological trait like telepathy, or if it's sort of technologically induced, similar to say a low level, essentially Borg collective.
It's a tinfoil hat.
I mean, ideally. I like that. I like reminds that Sufre. That's smart. Good person. All right. Give me a scan. Give me a control science.
Science.
Ship may assist.
And would my focus in subspace theory come into play here?
Yes.
What's the difficulty?
2.
2. Okay.
Assisted by the ship.
Yes.
And I will spend a point of momentum to roll an additional d20.
Okay. 2 momentum back.
Hmm.
Captain. Aaron. Player.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you discover? What is it? I want you to take some creative license here. With the caveat that I'm going to put a spin on it.
So these people like are inside the ziggurat, correct? Like all of them are contained inside that structure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Perhaps there is a sort of latent ability in this species that when exposed to, say, a type of metagenic radiation would induce them into a similar state as an actual telepathic race.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the reason they are all sort of contained inside this ziggurat, because the equipment in the power flow is not from the ziggurat to the station, but from the station to the ziggurat to facilitate this the generation of this metagenic radiation field inside the ziggurat, making them susceptible to or basically making them the equivalent of living subspace receivers.
Mhm.
So with the ability to a sensory organ in their brain hitherto unknown that when stimulated by radiation becomes active and allows one to perceive subspace signals.
Like it. Good. Small little twist.
Please.
Small little twist. There is something about the signal
Mhm.
that sparks a little bit of interest. Like, as you're scanning and you're analyzing, there's something that feels almost oppressive about it. Like, you start to look at the structure, you start to look at sort of this flow of energy, and it just, this doctor's explanation, there's something in the back of your mind that feels too convenient. Like, something feels off. I'm going to give this to you as your captain's sixth sense. Lieutenant Commander Flitz, are you in the engineering or are you in on the bridge?
He's on the bridge.
Okay. You're at your
Unless
station.
you'd rather have him in
No.
engineering.
You're at your station. At your station. Would like you to give me a control engineering. I want to see if you notice something. Difficulty of 2 on this. Hold your thought, Captain. I'll get back to you.
I will.
I'm gonna use a
Momentum.
momentum.
Okay.
Do you think any of my focuses would work? Theoretical physics, Starship computer systems, power systems,
Power
propulsion.
systems.
Okay.
That's some successes.
I'll buy that for
I'll
$1.
buy that for $1. All right, that's 2 momentum back. You're at 6. Benefits. You know those beacons, those quarantine beacons I mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
They're transmitting not just a quarantine signal, they're transmitting a power signal that is not dissimilar from the signal you're picking up going from the station, Ziggurat. And it's very subtle, it's a very low dose. But as you look over to one of the ensigns manning a station next to you, that ensign has frozen in place and is not moving. And it's just kind of like sitting there, very frozen in place. Then looks down at his hands, kind of spins them over, and then starts to mash the console like very aggressively, like smash, 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 smash. And then across the ship, you guys start to get reports of different crew members starting to act strangely, not themselves. And then from main engineering, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, get a comm badge from Lieutenant Bronson. And she says, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, something isn't right. You hear what sounds like phaser fire. That's where we're going to take our quick 10-minute break.
In main engineering, that's good.
Nice.
There we go. That's where we're going to take
Yeah,
our quick
what's
10-minute
the
break.
worst that can happen?
That's
Firing
probably nothing
phasers
bad.
around the warp core.
Yeah, that's probably nothing bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to take a quick 5-10-minute break, grab some water, grab a quick drink, then we're going to come back as things are about to get a little crazy here. A little bit crazy. I'm very excited. Very excited what's about to transpire. But meantime, our last and final moment here as we hear phaser fire is each and every one of you, other than Lieutenant Commander Flitz, starts to feel very woozy.
Mm.
Each and every one of you blacks out. That's where we're going to end this off. All right, we're going to end this off right there. We're going to come back. I'll let you guys know what's going on because things are about to get a little dicey here. Dicey. All right. But in the meantime, stick around, everybody. We'll be back after the quick 10 minutes. Speaking of half hanging out of our chair, we're live again. And
Oh, that's awesome.
Aaron will get here when he gets here. I'm not worried about it.
Well,
It's all
Captain's
good.
missing in action.
He is.
No.
He's gone forever.
Oh
So-
God, Ulrich's in charge.
And he's very emotionally vulnerable right now, so he's
Oh,
definitely not
no.
going to make bad decisions. That's really funny. Oh, Ulrich. Oh man, if Lieutenant Phelan sees how failing he is, with that first date, that'll make him laugh, and then Ulrich will be
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
"Ha!
There we go.
Just as I planned. Well played. Gotcha." All right, now, so when we last left off on Intrepid Adventurers, you all had noticed that there was a strange energy reading coming from the beacons, and then everyone on the crew blacked out. However, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, the crew didn't black out from your perspective. They just all started acting kind of like robots, and the ship entered warp, did like a little quick warp jump right next to the station, and then about 30 seconds later, before you could do anything, everyone got transported off of the ship. Everyone. So you're left alone, Lieutenant Commander Flitz, on the ship by yourself. So that's the thing.
So lonely.
However,
All by myself.
however, quickly replacing them are a bunch of aliens that look an awful lot like the Doctor.
Aliens
We
or
just get carjacked.
A bunch
just
of
got- yeah.
aliens start
That's a
appearing.
felony carjacking just happened to
Yep.
us.
Grand Theft Starship.
And as all of them appear, about 3 of them turn to look at you, and in unison go, "Who the hell are you? And why aren't you on the cube?"
I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you?
Flitz does his like head tilt and then says, "Computer, lock systems, authorization, Flitz, Omega Theta Phi 4.
Systems locked.
I'm
Nice.
Chief Engineer, Lieutenant Commander Flitz of the Federation Starship Erebus. Who are you, and what are you doing on my ship?"
Now let's go, Flitz. Put the Doom Eternal soundtrack on and let's
Yeah.
go.
That's a great.
The only thing they fear is Flitz.
So
Flitz like backs up and his hands like disappear into his arms, and like the blasters on either wrist like start glowing. Yeah.
ooh,
Oh, like
Mega Man.
yes, thank you.
who am I? Says one of them. That is the wrong question.
To be or not to
Lieutenant
be.
Commander
That's the question.
Flix. It is who are we? That is to say, we have solved the eternal problem of my species. Choice. I have taken away the burden of choice, given them a singular purpose. My purpose. This
Sounds
ship,
terrible.
No, you misunderstand. It is wonderful. People are no longer burned by fear or anger or jealousy. They are emboldened by glorious purpose. And finally, because of your ship, we have the ability to explore the stars, spread this glorious purpose across the galaxy. Now, I have your crew aboard that station. Release control of your ship, or I will begin executing them, one after another. That is your choice. See how burdensome choice can be?
Blitz is going to
Get in a Jeffrey's tube and do Die Hard.
Think about
Yeah.
that for a second, Lieutenant
Oh,
Commander
man.
Flitz. Think about that for a second.
Man.
As we are gonna pivot over, we're gonna pivot over to a certain space station. Where Lieutenant Phelan, you quickly come to, and as you quickly come to, you find yourself in a large, like, padded room. All right. And as you look across the room, you see an exact duplicate of yourself. And that duplicate, though, is dressed not in Starfleet uniform, but in very similar clothing.
Featheration.
Very similar clothing. Not the Featheration. Calm down. The Featheration is gone forever. Maybe they'll come back one day.
Or is
That would be a great thing. Like, you do a
At the
crossover with
end.
the Federation. Yeah,
Yeah.
squawk! The Federation.
Damn it.
I gotta be honest with you guys, that came up with that on the fly. I was like the feather people, the bird people. It was so fucking. You guys
It's
had
good.
so much fun with it. You guys had a lot of fun with that. It was good. But no, you look across the way, you see, but it's dressed, however, in clothing similar to the Doctor. All right, this Dr. Rascon. Okay, looks at you, and in the most like condescending, parroting voice, Lieutenant Phelan looks at you and says, "You are without honor. You couldn't even protect your crew. You have failed in everything that makes you a Starfleet officer. Even worse, a Klingon. Burden of choice is one that you are not worthy of." How do you respond?
Phelan, I think, knows a attempt to get a rise out of him when he
Oh, yeah.
sees one.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to refuse to take the bait because Phelan will explain to him. You say I am without honor. You say I have failed as a Klingon. You know nothing of what it is to be a Klingon. If you attempt to impugn upon my honor by tarnishing my reputation, reputation is something someone can take away from you. Honor is mine and mine alone. So if you are attempting to break my will or my mind, you are going to have to try much harder than that.
Then perhaps I will start with your body. You look down, you see a Klingon batleth has appeared in your hand, and a Klingon batleth has appeared in his hand, and he charges you. And just like charges at you. And we're gonna end that there for now.
Can
But-
I really quickly?
Yeah, please.
You are more than welcome to try.
Ah! And you're just like fucking, just you guys like rush towards each other and like the batless like lock, and like we're gonna end it there. And I want to pivot.
Like freeze frame.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
freeze frame. Yeah. Don't you forget about Phelan. All right, I'm done. We're gonna pivot over to Shaz. Shaz, you find yourself in a very similar white padded room, and you feel this like telepathic connection with yourself, but it's an out of body experience with yourself, and you are hearing yourself talking to yourself, but it's from an external source. That's why I can describe it, because you don't see things, right? You telepathically.
Well, I see things, but
No,
I
you
don't.
don't lie to
see
me.
things.
Don't lie to yourself.
You know, it's like
All
an
right.
impression of okay,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So this psychic impression that you're receiving, it doesn't say anything at first. It's just this clicking noise, like taking your tongue on the roof of your mouth and just like clicking. It's like a, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's just a clicking noise, right? Like tutting, right? Does that for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and finally draws in a very deep breath and lets out a very prolonged and like exaggerated Shah's sigh. Like just a Starfleet. Starfleet, Starfleet, Starfleet. Someone who claims to think so little of the organization, you find yourselves embroiled in one of their most arrogant, foolish endeavors. To fly yourself across countless light years to an unexplored galaxy aboard warship. Yet you claim some sort of moral superiority? You yourself are an embodiment of the very thing you claim to despise. You are a mirror of that Starfleet arrogance you claim to oppose. To think that you could work with them and not be tempted. What do you have to say for yourself?
The temptation towards violence is one that we all suffer from at times. I'm suffering from it right now, you arrogant little whatever you are. But, as ever, I am beyond such things. I have faith in myself.
You feel a very strong push. Someone shoves you from behind. Faith? Faith? Have the control that you think you have? Do you really have that control? Another shove from behind. You stumble forward a few paces. Another shove again and again and again until you almost fall over. Can you truly fight it? Can you truly control that burning rage inside of you? I could take it away. Take away that choice you must make every moment of every day, not be so carnal. Want to be part of something pure, something true? Give up the burden of choice, Jaws. Take it from me. Help me take it. Their warring, angry ways might be.
I've already had the pleasure of being disburdened of choice once in my life. And all that anger, all that rage, and that hate that I struggle with every day stems from that. I will never let anyone take my choice away from me again. I will never let anyone tell me who I am or how I will live again.
Then you will die. No, kidding.
No, it's fine.
And
Bring
he
it
says
on.
that. He's like, then you will die. And you feel this, like, you can see it yourself coming at you, and it tries to wrap its hands around your throat, and you're able to, like, start this struggle. And very similar to Lieutenant Phelan and his mirror and your mirror, you guys are struggling for control, as it were. We're going to pivot over to Lieutenant Commander Stern. Same situation, white padded room. Across the way, you don't see your adult self. You see yourself as a child. She is sitting there. And you recognize how you look, Lieutenant Commander Stern. This is very, very, very soon after the attack on your colony.
Very sickly looking child.
Very sickly looking child.
Amazing. I gotta fight a child.
Yep. She's gonna look up at you. And she doesn't say anything at first. She just has little teary eyes, right?
Why you do this?
The game master, what we do. And she looks up and she's very teary eyed. And she says, in a very young Lieutenant Commander Stern German accent, "Don't you wish we could forget? Don't you wish that it would all go away? You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to remember the pain. The pain can be gone. And we can be at peace. Wouldn't you like that?" That's my really bad kid German accent.
Mine's not any better.
You're welcome.
So...
It's so bad. I love it.
I will not right next to me.
Mhm.
Maybe a few paces away. I will also take a seat.
Ooh. She got a little burned teddy bear. Like missing a leg.
Oh Lord. Yeah. Every day I wish for that. Every day you will wish for that. But those memories and what happened to us should not have happened to anyone, but they are what make us us. And we must learn to live with that.
But if we would be part of something that would never let things like that happen ever again, wouldn't you want that?
I'm already part of some things of that.
No. You are part of something that is capable of terrible things. Part of an organization that is burdened by choice. The choices help to hurt. We would see those choices eliminated. Together, we would bring peace. Everlasting peace. One unified goal. All minds together. Doesn't that sound beautiful? Oh, it's so bad that I so bad.
-2, and
I'm
y'all
loving
haven't
it.
said anything, so it's fine.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
We will ask the question.
We will ask the questions.
You say goodnight to Mr. Bond.
Knock knock. Who's there?
Yeah. Oh crap. Not having the power of choice is what put us in this situation in the first place. I did not have a choice when I was you. Making the choice, I am now where I am now. Choices are important.
Slowly shakes her head. And from behind the teddy bear,
Oh,
she
Lord.
draws a dagger and lunges at
Nice.
you. Now you're struggling with the
Nice.
child trying to stab you.
Amazing.
It's so good.
Just hold your hand out as
Yeah.
it turns.
Just fucking Chucky's this shit. Just last and certainly not least, Captain. Ishra. Captain. You find yourself not in a white padded room. You find yourself in the medical room. Find yourself in that medical room you saw this doctor in. And you are sitting on a medical bed. And right across the way from the medical bed is an exact duplicate of yourself. It's also sitting on a medical bed. And dressed in the similar clothing. This like suit thing that he was wearing. And he is he's looking at you. And he's kind of drinking you in. And he says, "Your mind, Captain. Your mind is interesting. You have You have the burden of having to make a choice for many, many lives. It was you, as I analyzed your mind, it was you that intrigued me. Before I absorb you into my collective, I feel there might be a few things I could learn from you, Captain. When do you know to jump? When do you know to wait?
From past mistakes.
And what if those mistakes kill you? Or irreparably damage you?
Life
Hashtag
is
YOLO.
life is risk. Life is choice. And sometimes life is failure.
Bully shakes his head, he nods. Game Master buys time. Think about a response. He buys time. My people almost destroyed themselves, Captain. Conflicting ideas, conflicting ideology. Stupid thing. What dates to celebrate something not led to irreparable violence. I saw an opportunity to unify them. Take away that conflict. One mind. Taps his head. True unity. Purpose. Of the millions that lived on my planet, close to 1 billion, little more than 1 million remain. Because of what I have done. Up until I was able to enact this station, this unifying mind. My people were at each other's throats. I can see it. I can see what you think of me. I can see what you think of this. But if you were watching your species, your people rip themselves apart, and you knew there was a way to save them, not have done the same?
And is that what you think you've done? Save them?
Yes.
You've preserved them. You don't have a people, you don't have a culture, you have a terrarium. You have a monument to a thing that used to be. You have a breathing gravestone.
Better a monument, Captain, than a ruin. And then he lunges at you. Yeah! All right, back on.
Did he just do the Burgess Meredith penguin laugh?
Yeah.
It was the
Back on the
radio.
Erebus. All of these doctors, right? Like these similar looking doctor guys are standing around you. And Flitz, what are you gonna do?
Flitz looks at them. He just threatened to kill
Start to kill people
crew
off.
member every minute.
Give a timeline. He'd start to
Something
kill
like
them.
that.
Yeah. Release a ship or I'll start to kill people.
Flitz looks at him and says, "The second you harm a member of my crew, I will initiate the self-destruct on this ship and blow it and you out of the sky."
Then you and your crew will be stuck here forever.
And you will as well.
I was already stuck here. Nothing will change for me. For you, will be irreparably stranded.
No, I will be dead.
You would destroy your vessel, strand your crew?
To prevent a megalomaniac of a collective consciousness? Is that what you've created for yourself? Or is it a singular consciousness taking over all of the minds of the people that you have inhabited?
Sees him, and then a couple of the people are starting to move towards you.
He looks over at them and says, "You are welcome to try."
Dum, dum, dum. All right, now, the other 3 crew members. Pick one of your NPCs. One of your NPCs. The other 4 crew members. Pick one of your NPCs. Didn't get transported because you were in a Jeffries tube. And
Nice.
you were shielded from it. I want you to pick some of your lower deck people. All right? Okay? This is how we're going to play this out. So you guys, I want to pick 4 people, all in a similar area. You don't exactly know what's going on yet, okay? But you're going to hear the ship systems get locked down, and then we're going to kind of play out a little B-plot here, okay? We're going to play out a little B-plot. I want to get everybody else involved. Lieutenant Commander Flitz, you are connected to the ship's systems and computer, right? You're an android. You know that there are 4 crew members still on board. I want a B team. All right, this is C team, D team, D team. All right, this is very lower decky. We're gonna run with this.
Can I communicate with them without actually hitting my comm badge?
Absolutely.
Do I have an internal
Yes,
comm badge
100%.
that I can speak to?
I think
Okay.
you do now.
So Flitz can cast the message spell, is what you're telling me.
It's the class the message spell. Yes.
Um.
So first off, Shaz, who are you playing?
That would be the engineer Ensign Varen.
Ensign Varen. Aaron.
You're muted.
You mute.
I think it is going to be my ensign security officer, Ensign Rojas.
Love it. We got Rojas, Schmandy.
It's got to be Dr. Harak.
Dr. Harak. I love it. And then Commander, Sifray.
I'm torn. We could have a full party. I could pick my ops, or I
Ooh.
have an engineering.
It's either one.
My ops is also an android.
Ooh, maybe the androids are connected. Oh, that plays well. If you want to.
If Flitz would like to be the only android to save the day today, I am okay.
Oh no, I don't. Flitz is not a.
Or if Drew would like to be the only android to save the day
no,
today.
not at all. No,
Okay.
no. Flitz is not a glory hog.
We'll bring her out, Lieutenant Commander Siri.
You want popcorn?
I'll probably have a little popcorn, thanks. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm.
Oh God, he's eating.
Oh
God, he's eating.
Oh no! I'd love to
The
keep
stream
watching, but
ruined.
he's
The
eating.
stream is over. I quit.
Unacceptable.
I can't watch anymore. We're
Calling my agent.
out. My union's on strike. I can't.
Okay. As the
Stream ruined.
I guess as the other doctors are
Encircling
coming at
you.
me.
No.
Yeah. He will communicate with the other crew members. This is Lieutenant Commander Flitz. I have locked down the ship. We have been boarded by the aliens. They are a communal being, or seem to be, that are being controlled by the power station, the power emanations coming from the station, correct, Charlie?
Yes.
Yeah. That appear to be coming from the station. They have threatened to take over the ship and spread their consciousness over this galaxy. I have told them that if they harm any of the crew, I will blow the ship up. I don't want to do that. So if any of you have any ideas, that would be most helpful.
That'd be great. This little like crew, you guys were like in an engineer, like a little like Jeffries tube, working on some stuff. One of you got in a burn, so Harak showed up, and it's like, oh, by the way, you have to save the ship.
I would like to think that Harak was already skittering through the Jeffries tubes because he doesn't like going through the normal hallways.
And
He hangs
Varen,
out in the Jeffries tubes, like,
Yeah,
for fun.
He lurks is kind of what he does in his spare time.
Varen was off duty, but his version of relaxation is recalibrating EPS conduits. So he spends most of his time in the Jeffries tubes, and probably due to exhaustion, he was the one who suffered the burn. He took it like a champ because he is a Vulcan. He's not showing any signs of actually being injured, but as the call came in, probably Harak was running a dermal regenerator over that burn mark on his rather strangely robust bicep. He's a rather large Vulcan.
Harak's tissue damage is minor. Still, Harak recommends amputation.
That would interfere with my continued security of the bicep or bench press record on board the Erebus. I don't believe that I'll be doing that.
It is noted.
I suppose that's when the call comes in. Doctor, I don't suppose you have any suggestions?
Harak could reduce the number of intruders on board the ship.
That would be a woefully inefficient process. It would be wiser to release anesthetizing gas throughout the vessel.
Do I know how many is it only the 4 on the bridge that have beamed over?
Nope.
Follow Harak.
I tell them how many of them are
About
on the
1,000.
ship.
But the systems are locked.
Watch yourselves. There are over 1,000 of these aliens on this ship. I will do my best to allow you through the corridors as and release whatever locks you encounter. But I must keep the ship as locked down as I can.
Okay. All right.
Receiving coordinates. Okay, here's what I found on the grid.
I love it.
All right. Okay. We're gonna need phasers, and we're gonna need
Anesthetics and access to air control.
so not photon grenades.
That seems unnecessarily messy.
I was
do it.
thinking that we could try a more overall approach that would get us and the rest of the crew out of this situation.
Just like slow motion doctors menacing towards Flitz as you have this conversation. Ba-dum.
I think that we could remodulate the shields to perform some sort of interference pattern on the power signal that's being transmitted, thus ending the control of these creatures.
Your variants?
Hmm? Oh, I see. It would
Well, if
certainly be
it's
possible.
if it's the shield, we could just restrict a tertiary subspace particle dampener. That should do it. If I can just get to the emitters, I could make the adjustments.
Perfect. I can keep these beings in charge on the bridge distracted while you take care of that.
you
Dr.
save the ship.
Hrock,
Yes.
if you could take Ensign, what was your ensign's name? Rojas?
Rojas, yeah.
If you could protect him, I suppose, is the act as his backup. That would be probably the best use of your abilities.
You could amputate any problems he runs into.
Yes.
Harak can do this.
Even
I
if we
can code up
disrupt
the engineering and try to open up a line of communication.
Thank you, Siri. Even if we disrupt the psionic signal that's controlling these individuals, would that actually prevent them from being hostile towards us?
I think it would, at the very least, disrupt their ability to coordinate. Do you have any ideas on how to eliminate them as an individual threat?
I believe that my initial suggestion still stands. We could decouple the environmental controls from the main computer and force a manual restart, which would allow us to, well, flood the vessel with anesthetizing gas if we can procure some from sickbay.
There's another, because we would gas ourselves if that happened, and
Not if we are wearing EVA suits.
The lieutenant commander and I would be just fine. We could carry
Okay.
on ship functions.
True,
Thank
but
you, Siri.
we've got hollow emitters on every deck of the ship. I could program a security simulation and disengage the safety protocols with the holographic weapons set to stun. We could sweep the ship in 5-10 minutes.
I do not trust a ship full of ghosts.
I'm
Gas it is.
Wait, Siri, what do you have to say?
sorry, I don't know that.
I love you, dude.
Harak does not like ghosts.
That's
There are no ghosts on this ship. There are
You will
currently
be-
only 1,005 people aboard.
Besides, you will be busy with the shields. Ensign.
I will. Yeah, I will. And I'm going to go right now with Dr. Harak, who Doctor, why are you looking at me like that?
Actually, Doctor, why don't you take
No, there's nothing wrong with my arm.
why don't you go with the Vulcan whose name I forgot?
That's in character.
Sir.
That is absolutely not in character.
Don't forget after this session to give them all these characters in mine.
Actually, they get it right now because
Yeah.
they're active. They've been
Oh,
activated.
there you go. You're right.
So I gave Rojas a focus in escape and avoidance.
All right. So
Are we going to engineering?
I'm getting into Jeffrey's tubes. I got to get to those shield emitters.
Varen, why don't you go with the doctor, and Ceres, can you go with Ensign Rojas?
Sure. Starting route.
you're so fucking good. All right.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
Lieutenant Commander Flintz, you are restrained. During all of this is happening, while Siri is guiding them, right?
I just picture. Okay.
Turn left.
I got it. I get. Sorry.
It's so good.
I know, Siri. I know. It's just.
Doo-doo.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. I just.
It's so funny.
I just picture like Flitz is not actually restrained, like they're all hanging off of him, and he's just walking around, doing, like just doing regular stuff.
That was kind of what I was gonna do.
They're all like wrapped around his legs like kids and like their dad,
Yeah.
and he's just.
So Flitz, they're trying to restrain you. The one guy is like yelling at you to give him access, and that's all happening.
One of them's got a rear naked choke on you. It's not doing anything.
Yeah, like while the rest of this crew is. So you guys are gonna get to where you need to go without any issue, okay? Because Flitz is able to like guide you, keep things locked down. So you guys are going to medical? Where are you going? Who's going to medical? Who's going to medical?
Believe
Harak and
Harak and
Darn.
Valak?
Valak.
yes.
So Rocket, you
no,
guys.
no, that Valak is one of mine.
Okay.
Ah.
Well,
It's Varen.
Baron
Oh,
and
Baron.
Harak end up
Yes.
in medical.
Baron's
Harak
Vulcan,
knows
Valak's
it, of
Romulan.
course.
Siri.
Harak
and-
says it does not matter what your
Racist.
name is.
Siri and her driver end up in the shield emitters.
So
I'm perfectly
what-
capable of taking myself.
Absolutely, I never implied otherwise.
Sorry. Slight interference.
That's
Loud DM.
What is happening?
You've arrived at your destination.
Fucking
yeah.
hell.
How did you know that we call these dampeners DMs for short? It is a little loud. I think it's like
I'm
0.06
connected to
or
the
0.06.
computer.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
That's
Playing
really
dubstep.
that's cool. Can you tell me more about that?
I don't believe now is the time.
Fair enough. So what do you do for fun when you're not connected to the computer?
Oh, I do enjoy talking to the computer. The ship's computer has lots to say.
Did you ever talk to the crew? Just hang out, maybe?
I'm talking to you.
This is work, though. This is damn.
That is
stupid.
true. Let's continue on.
Fair enough. Stupid spanner. Can you give me a hand with this?
All right.
Sure.
Give me a control engineering difficulty at 2.
Am I assisting him?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Can I sell you on control security because this is manipulating the defensive systems of the ship?
I'm gonna go with yes.
All right, that'll work. Let's go.
Which one did you
And-
say? Control security you changed it to?
And I am going to spend an additional
Mm.
point of momentum for an extra d20,
I like that.
and I don't have a focus.
Oh my god.
Control
Fine.
security.
That's pretty good, Ross. You're able to modulate the deflector array.
Well, we want to restrict the tertiary subspace particle dampener. That's what we want.
Which you did. That's what I said.
Okay.
Fix it in post, don't worry about
it. All right.
Hey Suri, remind me to fix it in post.
Okay. Reminder set.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so funny. Woo! Okay, super serial. Nice, nice. You are back. You have floating momentum. 2.
This is
Actually, 1
difficult
floating
too.
momentum.
We have 1 floating momentum. So Hmm. Anybody have any ideas what to do with
When
that?
you
Or do we wanna-
restrict the tertiary subspace particle dampener,
Yeah, yeah.
all of the doctors aboard the ship start to have like panic attacks in a Commander Flitz. And they all look the same. They start to look different. Like their literal facial features start to like modulate and change. The colors of like their feathers start to change. And all of them start to panic and be like, where are we? What's happening? How do we get here? What's this? Who are you? Why are we? Like they're all like coming back into being themselves and just losing their fucking minds. Okay? Just losing their minds. Bad thing, and I'm gonna spend 5 threat, is they start to get violent and like attack one another, smashing stations, like just freaking out, making wild, weird monkey bird noises. Like it's a whole thing. Remember how this guy said that everyone was super violent? They're getting very violent. They're starting to like attack things. Okay. Now, Flitz, you're very strong and able to hold them off. So that's happening. Simultaneously, a certain amputation doctor and his soon-to-be amputee Vulcan have arrived in the medical bay. What'd you guys like to do?
Harak will first go to the safety equipment and pull 3 respirators, 2 of which are for humanoid shape and 1 for his reptiloid head.
I like that.
Take this, you will need it.
Thank you. As he's strapping it on, Varen then turns to the doctor and says, I'm given to understand that you species that are driven by emotions oftentimes require small talk in order to distract you from your concerns. I am willing to engage in this small talk, if necessary.
It does pass the time. What would you like to discuss? He starts looking through the surgical equipment, finding like the canisters of anesthetic gas that they use, and hands a couple of them to him as we are working.
And he just sort of like hefts them effortlessly, and you see these rather robust biceps bulging within the confines of that restrained Starfleet uniform.
I'm intrigued.
And
I like it.
he kind of like cocks his head. I see that you are rather fascinated by the consumption of meat products.
Yes, it is a byproduct of my previous career,
Speaking
and of course,
meat,
I see.
my upbringing.
Vulcan meat, medical bay.
If you require suggestions as to protein supplements, you can speak with me. I have several unique blends that are available in the replicator.
The Vulcan bodybuilder? What the fuck is that? I love him. Yeah, we have to see more of him. I like him.
That is acceptable. I would, Harak would also appreciate if those were, if such advice was disseminated among the rest of the crew.
Most of them do require an enhanced intake of creatine.
Indeed, they are, shall we say,
thirst traps.
Oh.
We're doing Vulcan thirst traps.
Listen,
I'm vibing.
Starfleet calendar,
Woo! Woo!
Erebus calendar.
Woo!
I don't know.
Yeah, we're doing
Woo!
Chippendale's Erebus calendar.
Oh boy.
Have you completed the recalibration of the environmental controls?
Harak is working on that right now. What would be the role for that?
That would be a control medicine. Difficulty
Control?
of 2.
Medicine.
You have 6 momentum.
Alternative medicine?
I'll allow it.
Could I assist with control engineering as we're...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, complication. I like it. I like that you succeeded but failed. You get 1 momentum. You get 1 momentum. So you have 1 floating momentum. Complication. Harak. You don't realize it, Harak. don't realize it, but your mask, it's not quite as secure as you thought it would.
Hmm.
So when the gas goes off, you're gonna pass out too.
All right. As he does, Hirak will look at Varian and say, "Do you notice a particular odor from our work?"
Fucking hurts
I
my
believe
leg.
these masks are pine scented.
Do you smell what Hirak is cooking?
He falls over.
I've been holding on to that one.
Oh
God! You may have a million momentum for that. That is fucking great.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, that was you smell with a rug. It's good. That's so good. Dead.
Try the veal. Don't forget to tip your waiter.
Oh my god. So good.
Jesus.
All right. So Necessitine gas goes off. Everybody aboard the ship passes out.
Oh, I had to look
Okay.
it up. I'm sorry.
Okay, everyone passes out. Everyone passes out, including Hirak, except for the 3 other crew members. The 2
Amazing.
that have the the Rojas passes out too because he doesn't have a respirator. Yeah, so he passes out.
Oh,
And
right.
so-
We didn't get to him.
Siri will just.
What's
Catch
that?
him.
"Hey,
Is
I
this?
got you.
Aw.
Oh.
All right. So the ship has been effectively retaken. Everyone's been put to sleep. Okay. Back on the space station. Okay.
Oh, shit.
So, Captain, how do you defeat your opponent?
The captain fought in the war.
Yeah.
Doesn't like violence, but he's more than capable of being efficient in the application.
You make quick work of him, it sounds like.
Yeah, just John Wickham.
You just John Wick this guy. I like it. So you John Wick this doctor guy and just knock him the fuck out. Shaz, same question. How do you defeat your opponent?
John Wickham.
So I don't think it's in any way a physical contest,
Yeah.
but the roiling hatred and rage that he feels at the impotence that was enforced upon him by his parents with the surgeries that he was forced to undergo in order to give him normal sight, it all manifests in a kind of almost psionic duel that they are also undertaking.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he overwhelms this apparition's mind
You melt
using
his
his
mind?
telepathy. Well, not exactly,
So
but
he
I think it
melts his
just it's
mind.
like
Perfect. Done.
yeah, okay, there you go.
Yeah,
It
I'm
might not be
hearing
what he was
that,
intending,
Shaz
but
is gonna need some
Yeah.
therapy.
You overwhelm his mind and he just like
The old
crumples to the
Vulcan
ground.
mind
just
melt.
Like, ah!
Yeah.
He's just freaking out. That's beautiful.
It's like a patty melt, but with your
So
mind.
that
Oh.
mind melting that you do, it's not actually melting, but that's going to disseminate through the rest of like that's cool. I like that. All right, same question. Lieutenant Commander Stern, you are fighting the child version
Fighting
of
a
yourself
child.
with a knife. How do you
Okay.
stop
What
it?
you got? A knife? No.
No!
I mean, it's a child. It's me as a child, but I am
Just punter.
definitely stronger. So I will grab the wrist that's holding the knife and twist it not to hurt her, but
Yeah.
enough to make her drop it.
Yeah. She's like,
it out
no.
Yeah.
She's like,
Kick it out of the way.
She's like kicking at you with her little legs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of anticlimactic, I think. Yeah.
Little bit.
All right, I like that. Last and certainly not least, Lieutenant Phelan. How
Right.
do you defeat the duplicate?
So, we are locking batleths.
Mhm.
Eventually, I push him off enough to get an opening.
Okay.
I assume a like traditional like Klingon Makbara stance.
Mhm.
And assuming that this guy is somewhat in my mind,
Correct.
Phelan starts thinking really hard about basically like the drill that goes with this.
Mhm.
And as my duplicate mirrors that and begins to attack according to those like to the
Parameters.
drill,
Yeah.
Phelan instead switches to a CQC technique from the Mako handbook that the captain gave him earlier that day.
Oh,
Yeah.
Boom, just one
Smash the
slash,
road, yeah.
done. Oh, I love that. That is so good. You
Yeah.
just fucking mess
Just
with his mind.
back when humans knew how to fight.
Oh, that's
Oop.
good. That's good. All right. As all of you guys defeat your duplicates, okay? Blitz, you've managed to regain control of the ship. How do you get your crew back and get the aliens off of your ship? It can be as complicated or as simple as you want, giving you free reign. Make a choice here. Why don't you simply describe how you fix this?
Um, I think he would just use the transporters.
You just start transporting them off and back. Okay. Takes you a little longer than it took them, right? But you're able to transport the aliens off of the ship, expunge the Necetine gas, and bring all of your crew back. People are a little drowsy. Some of them have some cuts and scrapes and some bumps. But you then can get shields up, protect yourselves, and you have saved the crew. All right. What do you guys do after you're all back? Had a couple hours to kind of put yourselves back together. What do you guys do now? The cube itself, the power is still going between the planet and the cube. They have had no communication, and you've had your shields up,
Phasers.
so they can't communicate with you, right? So
Are
they
we
can't. Go ahead.
are we back to our main characters now, or are we
Back to
still
your
the
main
lead?
characters now. Correct.
Okay.
Main characters. Great question. We'll bring Suri back. She's funny.
Would the captain convene a meeting in the conference room to discuss the current situation,
was-
perhaps?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me.
What do we want to do with these people?
First officer will pipe in. If I'm to understand, Captain, these people, when they are not under the control of this doctor, based on what Lieutenant Commander Flitz mentioned, they become destructively violent against themselves, against their environment. Yet when they are under the control of the doctor, they become simple pawns, monuments, what they once were. This is a situation where I feel we are damned if we do and damned if we don't.
Perhaps, but there has to be some action that we can take.
Is the planet not large enough that they can live separately from one another? There are only roughly 1 million of them left on a planet that at one point could hold upwards of 1 billion, yes?
What is stopping them from repopulating?
Nothing, I suppose, but at what point is that no longer our concern?
That is true. We could set up our own beacons outside of the ones they already have,
Well,
so that
the
no one
ones
else
that
falls into the same traps that we do.
the ones that they already have, we will destroy.
Hmm.
As it appears to be part of a rather elaborate trap.
There is a question that I would have for, well, all the Starfleet officers here. Isn't any intervention on your part a violation of the Prime Directive, regardless of the status of this civilization?
Our intervention is forbidden in matters of culture, cultural contamination, and the natural course of a society. I look at this planet and I do not see one. At least not one that I recognize, however. In this instance, our responsibility, I believe, lies with preventing anyone else from falling under the influence of this station.
Of course, the destruction of the various different probes and warning buoys is a necessity, but interfering with the relationship between the doctor and the people seems outside of your purview.
And it is.
The people may be under the protection of the Prime Directive, but my understanding would be that the Doctor is not.
Perhaps, but if he is the only mitigating factor in their survival, stasis-like though it may be, the fact of the matter remains that we don't have the time, we don't have the resources, and we don't have the right to structure these people in a way that we would wish to see. What we're looking at is lifetimes worth of work for quite possibly the entirety of the Federation Science Council. One ship. We can't save them.
Perhaps it would be better then to simply let nature take its course. If they can civilize themselves, then more the better. If not,
They did this to themselves. And we can't undo it for them.
As much as I hate to think about it, they are not there anymore. They would not know the difference.
Well, that sounds almost like you're saying that we could kill a patient who's in a coma simply because he's not aware of his surroundings.
I think you are twisting my words.
Just
I
trying
am
to get at the
agreeing
principle
with the
behind it.
captain that there is nothing that we can do for the people.
The fact that this ship carries a contingent of civilian science officers does give you some leeway, Captain. Federation citizens at large are not bound by the Prime Directive in the same way that Starfleet is.
The Prime Directive is a Federation law, not a Starfleet law.
Technically true, Commander Flitz. What are you suggesting, Mr. Chithane?
It's true that, by all accounts, this race would fight to its own extinction. Leave a science team behind here to investigate the facility, to find some way to perhaps use it to curb their violent impulses while leaving their free will intact.
And what of the contagion on the planet?
Have we actually?
No...
Yeah, would our labs have?
You have confirmed that there is a virus, and that virus is how he controls all of them. Basically, he created an artificial virus to infect them, to allow his mind, that latent psychic ability that they have, to connect with all of them and supersede their consciousness with his own.
Is it specific to their biology, or would the science team also be affected?
It's close enough to where if you were to go down there, it could affect.
Even with full quarantine protocols, I couldn't guarantee their safety, and Starfleet or not, I am responsible for the safety of every Federation citizen in this galaxy. For now, we can add this one to the project pile. But what I want, Lieutenant Phelan, is a firing solution on every one of those beacons. I want our own ready to drop and broadcast. Likewise, I want you to locate the subspace transmitters on that station responsible for sending messages the way that they responded to us. And I want them disabled.
Consider it done, Captain.
He takes that literally and just blows up the station. They've been disabled, Captain.
Just, quantum torpedoes.
Yep.
Done.
Hey, we brought them. We're going to use them.
Was the doctor on the station?
Yeah, that's where the doctor is.
I
That's
mean,
where
I don't really see how that's our problem.
that's where Mother Brain is.
Hmm.
We can do that, like the pinpoint phaser fire and disable their.
Whoops.
You may absolutely do that. So I'd like to imagine that there is a spread of torpedoes that destroy the beacons.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, could it be? Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not shooting torpedoes at the station.
All right. Phaser fire disrupts their communication. All right. So basically cuts them off from being able to do this to anyone else. Anything else to add in this meeting? Because I've got a couple scenes, a couple things I want to have happen as we get near the tail end of our session here. But anything else to add during this meeting? All right. First officer, as everyone's departing, going to ask for a moment of Lieutenant Commander Stern's time. He's going to look at the captain.
Let's go.
Going to look at the captain. In the most serious you've ever seen him, Lieutenant Commander Stern. No fear, no he's just very plain about it. And he simply states to you, Lieutenant Commander Stern, he's like, look. He simply states he likes you, he would like to have dinner with you, and he wants to make sure that the feelings are mutual. He just lays it out as plainly as he can. What does she say?
I appreciate the directness.
Get fucked. No. Wow! Just flips the table, flicks him off, and just exits out of the room. That's so
Throws
good.
him out the window.
Just fucking yeets him out into space.
No. Thank you for your directness. That is exactly what I needed to hear. We can start with the dinner.
He's like, all right, that's great. And then he gets awkward again, and he's like, okay, I have a meeting with the captain, and he's gonna rush to the captain, and he's gonna be like, she said yes, and then he's gonna fucking walk out, and as he exits out of the room, he's just like,
guys, don't do that. Oh.
yeah, it's so good. All right, perfect. So go ahead, captain. Yeah.
Lot of work to do.
Lot of work to do. Good. All right. So we watch as everything, beacons are destroyed, the station is disabled, and as you guys are getting out of the system, okay, I'd like to go down to engineering. Flitz and Bronson, you guys are making some repairs. There was some damage that was done to the ship by these duplicates, these doctor, zombie people, right? Basically this almost board collective kind of thing was the idea I was going for. Okay. Anyway, so Bronson is with you. You guys are working on a panel. And you can tell Flitz that she's had something that she wants to kind of bring up. Something's been bothering her, right? And she drops a tool, smacks her in the face, she cusses, she slides out from underneath this console, she sits up, and she's just visibly frustrated. Flitz, you ask what's going on? Do you simply tell her to get back to fucking work? What do you do?
Something on your mind, Lieutenant?
When I was over on that station, Commander, I saw myself prior to this. She's got that scar, got the fake eye, on her face. And whatever it was, It asked me if I wanted. It asked me if I was glad that I was still alive.
What was your answer?
It's very quiet. She looks down and she like picks up the tool she dropped and she looks at it. It's like a spanner thing, right? She kind of spins it around her hands. She says that I still wasn't sure, sir.
Is it your appearance or the trauma of the incident that you would rather not live through?
I lived. There were dozens of others who didn't. And every day I wonder why it was me, not someone else. Why did I deserve to have a second chance? And she starts to list a number of names from the Ragnar that didn't make it when that section of the ship was blown up, when the cloaking device was destroyed. And like she names it like almost like she has them memorized. There's like 24 people. Just like starts to go down the list, right? Does the final name. Why not any one of them, sir?
Lieutenant, there are constants in this universe. The laws of physics dictate them. Without these constants within the laws of physics, it would be impossible for the universe that we live in to function, to even truly exist. Molecules, atoms would not be able to form. Electromagnetic waves would not be able to propagate through space. None of the things that are around us would exist. Nothing would be possible that we are familiar with. When these laws were first discovered, people asked, what does it mean that the laws of the universe are what they are? What does it mean that we live in a universe that's capable of supporting life? The meaning is that there is no other way for it to be. You are in the universe that you are in because you are in it. You can't exist in a universe that does not have you.
She looks confused for a second and then starts to process this. If I'm understanding you, Lieutenant Commander, what you're saying is I shouldn't question why I exist. I simply just should.
We exist. You exist. That is a fundamental aspect of the universe, as constant and unceasing as the laws of nature.
Lieutenant Commander,
You
this
are
is
here.
the weirdest pep talk I've ever had. But
You are asking philosophical life questions about your biological existence from an android. I'm doing the best I can, Lieutenant.
sir, can you just hand me the spanner? this is the wrong size. And
Please.
she's just
I would
gonna
rather not
get
do this
back to
anymore.
work and just fucking say, you know what, it whatever you did, it worked. All right, it's fine. She just slides back under, starts working, and as we pan out from that, credits roll. Unless someone has something to add, I see Lieutenant Phelan.
I would.
Yes, please go for it.
Right. Phelan, may I have a quick scene with Ardal?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So, Phelan is in the training room with Ardal, and they've just completed a quick sparring session.
White belt, like
Yeah,
karate
just
style. I like
very
it.
basics.
Yeah.
How
How did she do?
she? I think is probably still very shaken by what just happened. She probably just had a pretty awful experience.
Okay.
And therefore cannot concentrate. And Phelan will put down basically like the training like pugil stick. Says, I understand that everyone aboard the ship has just been through quite a bit. We are, I believe, entering a time that will test us all harder than we have ever experienced. But I believe that it is more important than ever that we find that spark within ourselves to continue. There is not much in terms of Klingon poetry that I believe applies to what we've just experienced, but I do believe that there is a passage from a human poet, which may, I hope, in time provide some inspiration. It is a poem known as Invictus. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. It matters not how straight the gate, or charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate, and the captain of my soul.
As those words resonate, there's like a silence that falls over them. You guys are in the sparring room. She's got like shaky hands. They kind of steady. Grabs the sparring pole, like the quarterstaff I imagine you guys are using. She'll slowly rise up and look to you, and she'll just say, "Can we go again?" And
Absolutely.
I love it. All right. Final scene. Credits roll. Credits roll. Outro song plays. Then there's an after credits scene.
Ooh.
Remember that ticking?
Oh,
In the distance,
one that no one would vote for.
there is a explosive light
Of course.
and a shockwave that starts to spread through the system.
It's like a
It's like
million souls
Praxis.
cried
And
all
then
at once
we-
and were silenced.
And then we fade to black.
I told you all that was time sensitive.
So,
I do it too. No one
So-
else would vote for it.
so there is
Well,
a
now it's not our problem.
there is a system. There is a,
Yeah.
there is a sector. All right. So if you guys remember, there was a ticking,
Sounded
right?
sounded like time travel to
G.
me. I don't like time
G.
travel.
It was the
Yep.
most farthest away one from where you guys are at. There is a G. That sex system no longer exists, and there is a shockwave moving through the system. All right,
Fantastic.
which we will deal with next session. Which I'm
How
very
many
excited
light
about.
years is that session? Is that
Well, we'll find out. But yes, but G is off the map. It's the ticking is gone. All right, ticking is gone.
G's not real. G can't hurt you.
However, it will be replaced with something else.
Another
Replaced with
G.
something else. All right, the G is
G
now
It's a
changed.
lowercase g now.
G is now changed to something else.
GG.
All right. But as I
Yes,
always
double
say
GGs.
at the end of every
G's
session,
up, pose down.
any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we get ready to wrap up episode 8, the infection of choice?
No.
Great job, everybody. That was a hell of a lot of
GG.
fun. Yeah, I had a good time. So as always, at the end of every session as well, thank you so much to the players for playing. Without you guys, it's literally impossible. You guys have been stars, fucking rock stars. I've loved it. Thank you to the viewers for viewing. If you're catching us on YouTube, we appreciate you guys, and it's awesome. We're having a good time. And happy gaming, everybody. And as we always say as well, the dice have a story to tell. And this week it was, you guys are pretty cool, as it often is. You guys are pretty fucking great.
people in Sector G don't think so, but
Uh,
they don't matter anymore.
I mean,
They don't think much
There
of
are no
anything.
people in Sector
Things
G.
have-
I'm sorry to tell you.
things have changed. Sector G is changed forever, but I'm very excited
Passing
about
by
what
an
is to come.
uninhabited sector.
What
and
is
nothing's
to
happening.
come?
Sector O
What
and
is to
G.
come? But in the meantime, be well, be safe, and we will catch you in 2 weeks for session 9. We got 9 and 10 of season 1. Very excited about it. And yeah, we've also got 2 new systems that have just popped up that I'll be adding to our list, and a modified G that I'll be adding to our list as well. But in the meantime, be well and be safe, and we'll see you guys soon. Good night.